Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and tackle a huge, honestly anxiety-inducing myth. The idea that you have to find your one, absolutely perfect career direction. Look, if you have ever stared at the ceiling late at night, just tossing and turning, wondering if you are on the right track or if you've completely missed your calling, well, you're definitely not alone. Society really pressures us to find that singular, flawless trajectory, right? From day one, we're told, pick a major, pick an industry, and then just climb that specific ladder until you hit the top. And that relentless pressure follows us from our student days, straight into the workforce, and even during midlife transitions. But today, we're going to look at why that mindset isn't just outdated, it's actually holding you back. Based on our source material, we'll explore a completely different approach. One that swaps out that rigid, stressful search for perfection with the incredibly freeing strategy of accumulating choices. So, think about these questions for a second. What is my true calling? What am I actually best at? How do I know for sure that this is the absolute right road for me? Really feel the weight of those questions. It's heavy, isn't it? We ask ourselves these things because we think we're being responsible, being proactive about our future. But in reality, framing our entire professional lives around this massive search for a single, perfect destiny just creates a ton of stress. It literally leads to paralysis. We freeze up. We become terrified of taking a single misstep, utterly convinced that if we don't find that one true calling, we're somehow failing at the game of life. Which brings us to Section 1, the perfect path trap, and why the right answer is a moving target. The fundamental flaw in looking for the most suitable direction is that it dangerously boils down life's infinite, wonderful possibilities into this rigid, non-negotiable multiple-choice question. It totally assumes there's one correct answer hidden out there, and if you just think hard enough, you'll uncover it and be set forever. But life is absolutely not a multiple-choice test. The idea that there's a permanent best fit is basically a pseudo-proposition. Just consider how our definition of a suitable career radically shifts over time. When you're 20, you might be entirely driven by passion and interest. You just want to disrupt the system, right? But by 30, maybe you're looking at a mortgage or starting a family, so suddenly income and security take the front seat. Hit 40, and you might crave family balance and inner peace way more than climbing the corporate ladder. And by 50, your priorities might shift all over again toward personal freedom and giving back to the community. You are simply not the same person at 50 that you were at 20. So how could a single unchanging career plan possibly serve all those wildly different versions of you? Because we start out lacking experience and really have to rely on trial, error, and course correction, searching for a permanent, unchanging answer is ultimately an exercise in futility. It is quite literally like looking for a fixed rock in a flowing river. Early on, we just do not have enough information, life experience, or even self-awareness to accurately predict what's going to suit us decades down the line. And to make things even more complicated, that flowing river isn't just our internal desires changing. It represents the constantly shifting economy, brand new technologies, and evolving job markets happening all around us. Trying to find a fixed rock in that kind of chaotic environment, it just doesn't make sense. It is only through the messy, continuous process of trying things out, making mistakes, and adjusting our course that we figure out what works for us in the present moment. Let's move into Section 2, the river course metaphor, learning from the journey of water. So if we need to stop looking for that fixed rock, what exactly should we be looking at instead? Well, we should be looking at the water itself. Imagine a crystal-clear spring originating deep within the Qinghai Plateau. As it starts its long journey downward, it doesn't stubbornly insist on traveling in a perfectly straight line to the ocean. That would be impossible. Instead, it powerfully navigates obstacles by flexibly adapting to whatever topography it encounters. When it hits wide grasslands, it naturally spreads out to nourish the earth. When it hits steep, narrow valleys, it becomes a rushing, concentrated rapid. When it hits dense sands, it slows right down to a gentle, meandering pace. Whether it's flowing rapidly or gently, the water always makes the most suitable choice for that specific time and place. It embraces the terrain rather than fighting it. There's this profound realization from our source material that beautifully sums this up. It says, "The Yellow River doesn't follow a fixed track. It finds new channels." Think about that for a second. Even China's most iconic, massive, and mature river changes course. Throughout history, after massive floods, topographical shifts, or heavy silt buildup, the river doesn't just give up and stop flowing because its old, predictable path got blocked. No, it gathers its momentum, finds new channels, and continues the journey. This is a powerful reminder that a career isn't something you figure out once at graduation and then just coast on for the rest of your life. It's a dynamic, continuous process of adapting to the landscape. If your current path gets blocked by an industry collapse or a major life event, you don't stop. You find a new channel. All right, section 3. Accumulate choices, not answers. This is all about the strategy of multi-path development. If we aren't supposed to find one fixed answer, what exactly are we supposed to do? Well, in a world full of unpredictable variables, the absolute smartest thing you can do for your career is to relentlessly expand your options. Consider the huge contrast between these two approaches. On side A, we have the traditional method, pursuing a single goal. This is incredibly rigid. When inevitable industry shifts occur, like say a massive new AI technology completely disrupting your field overnight, people on side A face a really high risk of deep anxiety and obsolescence because their one and only plan is suddenly threatened. They literally have nowhere else to go. But then, look at side B, multipath development. This approach is highly flexible. Because you have multiple avenues you can pursue, you can quickly adapt to technological and social changes. Side A is fragile. It's ready to break under pressure. Side B is robust. It's ready to adapt and thrive. So how do we actually build side B in our own lives? Here is your practical toolkit for multipath development. First, learn diverse skills. Don't be a one-trick pony. If you are a writer, learn some basic coding. If you're an accountant, take up public speaking. Second, expand your cross-boundary abilities. This means learning how your specific industry intersects with others so you become a bridge, not just an isolated island. Third, maintain an intense curiosity for new fields. Read broadly, stay curious, and you'll be able to spot emerging trends way before they go mainstream. Fourth, build a rich resource network. Connect with people from vastly different backgrounds, because honestly, the best opportunities usually come from outside your immediate bubble. And finally, cultivate psychological resilience. Train yourself to view setbacks as helpful data rather than ultimate failures. By taking these strong, deliberate actions, you are building up a massive reservoir of options. When circumstances change, you won't panic. You'll just effortlessly pivot. So the absolutely crucial point we are arriving at here is a totally new definition of safety. True career security is the state of possessing multiple viable choices and capabilities rather than successfully finding one single unchanging direction. Let that sink in for a moment. True safety isn't a perfectly straight line that you drew at a crossroads when you were young and inexperienced. It's the freedom to choose your path when the environment inevitably shifts around you. When you have choices, you have unbelievable power. You no longer have to cling desperately to a toxic job, a dying industry, or a singular identity. You are secure because you know, for a fact, that you have the capabilities to go in 3 or 4 different, successful directions at a moment's notice. And that leads us to our final section, Section 4, the fluid career strategy, flowing like water. A career is not some rigid, high-stakes exam where you get severely penalized for not picking option C. It is a long, highly adaptable, and spectacular journey. The real wisdom of career planning isn't in drawing a straight line from point A to point B. It is in expanding your capabilities so that when a massive change comes, you actually have roads to take. If you have been stressing out lately about not knowing exactly where you belong in the professional world, please let this realization be your comfort. The best fit naturally emerges through continuous walking and choosing. You absolutely do not have to figure it out today. Actually, scratch that. You can't figure it out today. If you simply focus on expanding your capabilities, staying deeply curious, and retaining your choices, the right direction will organically reveal itself along the way. Your only job is to keep moving forward and keep adding tools to your belt. So, I want to leave you with this final overarching thought. Take a look at your own life right now at whatever stage of the journey you happen to be in. Ask yourself, are you exhausting yourself trying to draw a perfectly straight line into a completely unpredictable future? Or are you building your skills, gathering your options, and learning to flow like water?